Hey, welcome back to Alternative Small Holding. I'm Jazz and Roo is over there. Say hi, Roo. Hi. We are just about to watch a movie and I'm potting on my tomatoes whilst we do that, aren't I? And so I thought quickly, because I've promised that I will do a video to show how I sow my tomatoes and how then I pot them on and grow them on. So I've got one last type of tomato to sow, because I've done most of them now and I'm potting some on. So I'm going to just quickly grab the camera and show you down here what I've already done today, and then I'm going to get my tomato seeds and we are going to pot on some tomato plants ready to the next stage. Let's have a look at these tomatoes that I've already done today. So these are some of the tomatoes that I've done today. I've potted on 80, I think, so far, and these are all different varieties. And as you can see, they're getting their true leaves through, and because I sowed them quite densely in pots like this, then some of them may not have all their true leaf through, but I don't really like them being that compact in there. So I can't remember how many tomato plants I'm growing. I think it's 115 that I'll actually be growing on this year, and we've got, I think it's 238 seedlings. What I've been doing with my tomato seedlings is I've made a record. See, tomatoes 2019, and I've made a record of every variety that we've sown, how many germinated, and then how many of those I'm keeping for myself. What's left from those? Logan, don't you dare. What's left from those, if we've got space, that's the deciding factor. If we've got space, then we'll grow those on, and Roo's going to have a plant stand outside and sell them for like 20, 50p or something. These are all heirloom, like fancy pants tomatoes, and not the ones that people will be able to find in the shops. So hopefully people would like to buy them and grow them on, because Roo wants to earn some pocket money. And anything that can pay off a couple of quid towards the compost is always good too, isn't it? So I'm going to sow some seeds. These are malachite box, and I thought I'd sown these a couple of weeks ago, and I got to the point where I was actually shouting at the pot, like, why aren't you growing? And it turns out that I didn't put any seeds in there, because the seed count on the bag is exactly the same as the amount of seeds that are in the bag. So I'll be sowing my malachite box seeds today, and this is apparently the best green tasting tomato, which I'm really excited about, because it may be a tomato that I can actually eat, as in like bite a raw tomato. And the only tomatoes that I've been able to eat raw without having a reaction to are green ones. And so I'm growing Xanadu Green Goddess, Emerald Green Cherry and Malachite Box this year. So I'm really hoping that that means I can eat raw tomatoes. So that's why I'm resowing them. So this is the tray that I use on our table in the living room. Beardy Dude just kind of resigns to the fact at this time of year that for between, say, February and May, that the living room will intermittently turn into my potting shed. So he's very patient. So this is my potting mix. It is New Horizon, peat-free and organic. It's not particularly fine, but I have had no problems with it in the past, and I think it is wonderful. So we've had great germination with this stuff. I don't use different mixes for seeds and potting on and big pots. I just don't. I never have. I think it's just another marketing con, to be honest. So I filled up a pot, and I'm going to sow my tomatoes on here. I'm going to do a bunch of them all in one, and I filled it up just below the top. I shall get my seeds. These are tomato seeds. So what I'm going to do is just sprinkle them on the surface. I'm going to put a lot in because I want at least 3 or 4 plants, and then we can just separate and grow on the rest. But I want to be absolutely sure, in case any of those seeds aren't viable, I want to make sure that I've got one that is. So they're all on the top. What I do at this stage is I actually water the seeds in. And then sprinkle some compost on the top. You only need to finely cover. You can use vermiculite if you prefer, but I just like to very finely cover with a few millimeters of compost. And that is your tomato sown. Remember to put in your label. So that pot now is going to go into my heated propagator upstairs, which really has nothing else in it now. So that will be in there by itself. I will keep our tomato seeds in the heated propagator until they come through, and they're about 1 centimetre tall, and then I take them out and just keep them on the windowsill. They need good sun and consistent heat, so it doesn't need to go really cold at night. Remember, they are frost tender. So heated propagator until they show through, or a warm windowsill, and then make sure they're in good strong light, otherwise they'll get really leggy. So that's how I sow my tomatoes, and now we're going to pot some on. In our, which video was it? Was it March? I think it was our March Seeds to Sow video. We sowed Brad's Atomic Grape, and I told you that this was one of the tomatoes that I'm most excited to try. There's been great reviews about it, and it looks absolutely amazing. And I chucked the whole packet of seeds in here. I will be growing about 5 of these plants, but I will be growing the rest on for other people. So what I'm going to do with this is, I have my stack of little mini pots, so I'm going to take those seedlings out and put each one into one of these, so individually pot them on. I'll turn the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. So individual pots, I'm going to fill them to the top. I feel like I'm on a bit of a production line. I've done so many of these today. Right, so you've got your pot of seedlings and they're all bunched together. So the first thing you want to do is just squeeze the side of the pot, so that will loosen up the soil. I'm going to pick out the strongest ones, and I like the look of this one in the middle. So I'm going to put my chopstick down through the soil and just lift up and take that out. It's come out in a bunch, but that's okay. Remember, we're always handling them by the leaves. If we break the leaves or some of the roots, they will survive. Break the stem, they're done, they're dead. Just take the leaves and they'll come apart nice and easily and leave a good root. And then get your little pot, pop a hole in the middle. I go right down to the bottom, drop it in and pack the soil around it. The stem of the tomatoes that we're putting in are quite long, but when it's in the pot, you can only see the top bit. And that's because if you plant a tomato, even when it's long and leggy, if you plant it to just below the leaves, it will form new roots down the stem, and that will make it a stronger, more vigorous plant. That's not saying that we want leggy tomatoes, but if you do plant any tomato just a little bit deeper, same for brassica, then it will form extra roots and make it a stronger, more vigorous plant. So that's why I get my pot, my finger right to the bottom, drop it right down, and firm the soil back around. It's very simple, and once you get used to it, you will do it so quickly. Trust me, I'll show you. one that I'm keeping for myself. And so I'm just going to take that last one out there. Drop it in, right to the bottom, firm it back around. So that's all of the ones done that I want. I've potted on all of the Brad's Atomics crepe that I want to keep. But we've still got these ones left here. So what I'm doing at the moment to save space is I am actually putting a bit of fresh compost in these pots where I've taken the seedlings from, firming it back down, and then leaving those to grow on for another couple of weeks. By then I'll have some more space on the windowsill and these will be bigger, and then I can pot them on again. So I've got the tomato plants that I want to keep, and then I've got the pot with the seedlings left in that I'm going to leave to grow on, and then I'm going to let those ones be sold or given away. So there you go. So that was pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. All I'm going to do now is all of these little ones will now go back upstairs onto the really sunny windowsill, and they'll be monitored to make sure that they are not getting too long and leggy, and then gradually I'll move them down once the night times start to get more consistent temperatures. I'll move them down to the lean-to, and then once we are sure that we're frost free, which should be in about 4 weeks, then I will move them over to our greenhouse, and then eventually they'll go outside. So that's the stages that I'm taking them in. I am growing a few in pots at the plot, and I'm doing our container garden series, so there'll be some in pots for that as well, and that'll be a dwarf variety and a cordon variety. But there'll be some in pots, there'll be some in the ground, and then there'll be some in the polytunnel as well. And the greenhouse that we put up yesterday is the pepper palace, by the way. That's where all the pepper plants are going. So I did say I would show you how to do pepper plants actually, didn't I? So hang on. So this is a pepper plant, So this is a pepper plant that I potted on earlier today, and this is a Di Toro pepper, and these are 2 that I've got left. So I will quickly show you whilst I'm here, but if we get a little pot again, these ones are quite baby that are left. So I'm just going to get a little pot, I'm going to stand it in here and show you, and there's your pepper plant, and I'm just going to put my finger underneath, you see? Underneath the plant to loosen the roots. This is easier if you've planted them in something like a trough like this or a tray. Take it out and put a hole in the pot, tuck it down, firm it in, done. Potting on really is very simple. It's not very different from one plant to another. There are things like the tomatoes and the brassicas that really benefit from being planted that little bit deeper to help them form good strong roots. But things like peppers, pretty much the same. Sowing them, pretty much the same. They both enjoy good heat to start them off. It's probably too late to start peppers off now, to be honest. They really need starting somewhere around January or February, but you can buy them from garden centres or nurseries. So I hope you found that useful. I'm going to continue potting all of these on now, and we are going to watch Mary Poppins. So that was just a really quick update on how I sow my tomatoes and how I pot them on. So I hope you found it useful. Take care, happy gardening, and we will see you soon. Bye bye.